This video will guide you through the process of installing a 6291A Ratchet repair kit on a Dutton-Lainson hand winch. This kit includes these parts: a ratchet sleeve, cap screw, lever, spacer, lock nut, and a spring. Here is a list of the 3 winches that are compatible with this kit, but please keep in mind that there are 2 different ways it can be installed, depending on the particular winch that you own. This video will show both processes, so follow along only when your winch's model number is displayed in the top left corner of the screen. Regardless of which model you own, your first step is to remove the ratchet kit that is currently installed on your winch. Using 2 7/16 inch wrenches or a combination of a wrench and a ratchet as demonstrated here, loosen the lock nut and completely remove it from the cap screw. Pull the cap screw all the way out of the ratchet sleeve, then simply remove the kit's interior parts from the center of the winch. To install this kit on a DL1602ADD or a DL1602A like the one you see here, hold the lever with its pointed tip on the right and facing down, then slip it onto the tapered edge of the ratchet sleeve. Insert one end of the spring in the hole above the lever's pointed tip, then place the spacer against the lever on the sleeve's edge. Next, place the other end of the spring through the small hole on the gear side of the winch. Press down on the kit's interior parts until the ratchet sleeve's 2 ends are lined up with the large holes on both sides of your winch. Insert the cap screw through the lined up holes on the gear side of the winch, then push it all the way through the ratchet sleeve until its end appears on the opposite side of the winch. Lastly, put the lock nut on this end of the cap screw and firmly tighten it with your tools to finish the installation process. Now, here are the steps to follow if you own a DL1402A winch. Place the lever on the ratchet sleeve's tapered edge with its pointed tip on the right and facing down. Set the spacer against the lever, then slide one end of the spring into the lever's small hole that is not above its pointed tip. Insert the other end of the spring into the small hole near the top of the gear side of the winch. Then position the parts so they line up with the large hole on this same side of the winch. Push the cap screw all the way through the winch, place the lock nut on the end of the screw, then use your tools to securely tighten the nut to complete the final step. However, before operating your winch, please make sure that you correctly installed the kit. First, engage the gear with the lever's pointed tip and move the reel towards the gears. You should feel resistance and hear loud clicks as the lever passes through the gears. Now, disengage the gear with the lever's pointed tip and move the reel in either direction. You shouldn't feel any resistance or hear any clicking noises with the lever in this position. A word of warning: when installing this kit, some people try to force the spring over the spacer and the ratchet sleeve's tapered edge at the beginning of the installation process. While the spring's opening is large enough to fit in this position, your winch will not function properly or safely if you try to install the kit in this way. Thanks for watching. For more information, visit us at Dutton-Lainson.com.